New year, new strategy. Platforms change, and so does the way people consume content. So, if you don't want your strategy to fall behind, you need to stay up to date. That's why in this video, I'll show you 5 social media trends you need to have in 2026 in order to update your strategy. Let's go. On the first trend, we have AI. Because yes, AI is super necessary and super helpful. But you need to remember that AI is your co-pilot, not your driver. So yes, you're using AI. It helps you get content faster, sort your ideas, and get rid of tasks that used to take you a lot of time. And yes, that is a huge advantage, but only if you know how to use it well. In our study on AI use on social media, we saw that most professionals are using it in some way. And many feel like they're publishing faster and more easily. However, the problem here is that many don't know if their content is performing better or worse, or even what impact actually has using AI on your content. And that's the whole point right there, and that's what you gotta pay attention to. AI doesn't fully know everything. It doesn't know your community, it doesn't know your audience, it doesn't know how your brand sounds, and it doesn't know what content perform best for your platforms or your content. Because that is still up to you. Yes, this tool can suggest ideas, texts, prompts, and even structures, but the judgment does not come with it. You still decide what's worth publishing, what makes sense, and what brings something new to the table. Think of it like Pinky and the Brain. AI is Pinky, fast, excited, full of ideas, and capable of delivering 10 drafts in seconds. But Pinky also goes off track, mixes things without context, and doesn't always get the plan. And you're the brain. You choose what works, you choose how it sounds, and finally, you choose what message deserves to go live. That's why it's not longer about using AI or not. It's about how you integrate it. If you use it to think better, gain clarity, and move faster, it adds a lot of value. But if you let it decide for you, your content will sound like everyone else. And you already know how it goes. What are we doing today?
Try to take over the world.
Going on to trend number 2, we have video. Because yes, video is still king. And if you work in social media, this doesn't surprise you. Video is no longer just another format. For some, or most, is literally the core of its strategy. On TikTok, the average post gets around 28,000 impressions, and that's way above other platforms. And on Instagram, Reels are the clearest example. This format reaches about 9,000 accounts, while others only reaches 6,000. So if you haven't added video to your strategy yet, this is the year to do it. And if you're using it but you're not getting results, maybe it's time to rethink if you're using it the right way or how you can change stuff. To keep it simple, I would recommend that you use your videos to explain things that your audience often asks you. Take for example Away, the luggage brand. When they want to show you why one type of suitcase fits your lifestyle better, they do not do it with the typical characteristics carousel or just like a single post. They record very unique and funny videos showing you the sizes of their luggage, how they work, why would they be better for one trip or the other, and when to choose one. And if you think about it, these are literally the questions that you ask yourself before you're buying a suitcase. So it makes sense that they are promoting that within their content. And the results of them making these is that their videos are reaching easily over 15,000 impressions. Because again, they are answering exactly what people need to know before they buy a suitcase. And we have the same logic with Ben & Jerry's and Amtrak. When there's a new flavor, a discount, a promo, a special trip, or something their community have been waiting for, they use video to set context, build the mood, and respond to their demand in an original way. And I would highly recommend you that you use this as an inspiration. And no, it's not copying their post, but it is about copying that mindset. Think about the questions that people ask you over and over and use video to answer them. Because when you choose on the right focus, your video won't go unnoticed. It will literally become a tool that will support your whole strategy. And with that being said, I will go on to trend number 3, because content that sparks action travels way further. So there's been a shift in the way that people consume content. Watching isn't enough anymore. Now, the content that performs best is that one that drives your audience to make an action. A save, a reply, a share, a comment, a click, a follow-up. Anything. Actually, on Instagram, carousels get saved more often because they are literally designed to pause and come back to them later. On LinkedIn, we also see these with polls or opinion posts. And they work, again, not because of the format, but because they invite people to join a conversation. And this changes everything, because now you cannot post something just because you think is interesting and then move on. You need to create every post with the mindset that is giving your audience a clear action to take away from that post. You need to give them a next step, a simple, hey, save the post, or comment what you think about this question, or find this template in the link on my bio. Things like that. Because if you think about it, okay, think about how you scroll. You pass through 100, if not 1,000 posts. But when something really interests you or something really catches your eye, you share it, you comment on it, or you save it. And exactly that is what platforms are looking for right now. So from now on, ask yourself one simple question. What do I want someone to do after seeing this post? And on trend number 4, I have one that might surprise you because it literally shocked me when we found out this on our study. And that is that the platforms that people, including you and me, forgot might give you an edge. And again, this one catches people off guard. Because when we talk about strategy, we tend to focus on the same platforms: TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. And those are the loudest ones, the most crowded, the ones where people tend to go. But the data shows another picture. Some platforms that got pushed aside are now performing better because they're less saturated. And this makes sense. In our study, Facebook really stood out. In 2025, post performance improved drastically. Average reach went over 50%. Impressions rose around 57%. And interactions rose to over 50% compared to last year. And this isn't happening because Facebook changed, but it's happening because many brands stopped prioritizing this app. And it gave content a room to breathe again. And we actually saw this with creators too. Robert Benjamin told us something clear during our study. He said views, growth, engagement, and even monetization on Facebook were surprising him. Just by reposting his TikToks and Reels, he was receiving insane reach from that content. So that's the key. When everyone fights for attention in the same platforms, go to the quieter ones, because you'll have more room to breathe. If you think about it, you can literally do the same effort, post the same content, but with less noise around. So no, this isn't about going back to Facebook for the old times. It's about finding a competitive advantage. Before you stretch your strategy to another crowded room, pause and ask yourself, where can I stand out now without yelling louder than anyone else? That is your place. And on the last but not less important trend, we have your community. Because your community is what holds your strategy together. So no, it's no longer about the one who gets the more views. It's about the one who builds the most stable connection. Because yes, reach still matters, but without a real community behind it, your strategy becomes fragile. And this is getting super obvious out there. We have more people, more posts, more platforms, more algorithm changes. We literally have more noise than ever. So reaching more people doesn't guarantee anything if they don't come back to your account, if they don't come back to your post. Whenever I like to think about an example of this, I like to think about creators that do content about Notion, the app. I have one creator, which is I Am Pashio, that I absolutely love. And weirdly enough, his content doesn't live off one viral video or even one viral carousel. It lives off a community that saves his posts, that comment waiting for the next post to come, because his content is one, super useful, it's very niched because it talks about Notion, but it also comes with a template and advice, something that I can come back to later. And that's just not reach. That's a relationship. And the platforms know this. That's why Instagram is focusing now way more on DMs, and that's why YouTube is now testing in-app messages, because the future is all about closeness. So the question isn't just how many people see you, it's how many return, engage, and stay with you. Because a small connected community holds up way better than thousands of people that just scroll past. And if there's one thing that these 5 trends show, it's this. 2026 is all about creating real and authentic content that can connect with your audience. And I know that this is a challenge, but in order to help you, I have something that will make this challenge way easier, and that is Metrical's newsletter. Every week, we share social media tips, platform updates, and content ideas, so you're always one step ahead. If you want to subscribe, I'll leave you the link in the description so you can go ahead and start receiving those amazing updates and news. Now it's your turn. Out of everything that we talked about in this video, what made you think, this is something that I want to try for 2026? Drop your answers in the comments because I'll be reading. See you in the next one, Metricooler.